Lyft drivers. I mean, you literally drive for a living, but you don't know how to do a head check to see if there's traffic in the lane that you're pulling into. This happens all the time in Seattle. Cannot believe it, but what can I do? I can't control them. All I can do is control how I react, equanimity. So, and that plays perfectly into what I'm about to talk about. So, I met with an assistant director of this business that I'm coaching, and she's having some struggle with one of her staff members. The staff member isn't responding to this assistant director's guidance to follow certain organizational practices, to complete documents on time for time off, to report incidents that occur within a timely manner, and she's seemingly maybe passively defiant around some of the things that this assistant director takes very seriously. Now, this assistant director is pretty new within the organization, and she is very organizationally driven, so she wants things to work efficiently, smoothly. She's creating systems that ultimately should help the organization run like a well-oiled machine, which is what we want. But unfortunately, not everybody thinks that way, right? We have different learning styles. Some of us are much more free-flowing thinkers. We place value on different things. Some people value timeliness, efficiency, accuracy. Others value going deep and, more of the quality of the interactions that we have within the work that we do. And I have a feeling that that's the type of person that this staff member is, the one who's not really following these organizational procedures well. So I think we have, two totally different learning styles and personality types. But at the same time, what they have in common is some resistance to vulnerability and clear expression of what they're experiencing. So you have this sort of like armoring, hiding of the emotion, and then these sort of passive-aggressive actions that ultimately injure the other person emotionally, right? And then things get escalated, and essentially one person will probably end up either getting fired or quitting because of the amount of discomfort. So we had a really, really bold, deep conversation around calling out, whether some of these organizational expectations aren't being met, calling out that's part of the responsibility of the role. And if that can't be met, then that person probably isn't fit for that role, and that's a fact. But at the same time, we can give that staff member an opportunity to express what might work better for them. So it could be that, this person doesn't really think organizationally, but they're a great communicator, great connector, and they might need a little bit more support in developing those organizational skills. That's something that a leader can do. That's something that this assistant director should be doing, is supporting their staff in building the skills where they have a deficit. But that's not happening, right? Because that staff member, when the assistant director asks, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? Is there anything that I can do to make this work better for you? That staff member is saying, yeah, everything's fine, no problem, everything's good. She's not communicating her need for more support or whatever it is that she needs. And then the communication stops and they continue down the path of business as usual, status quo, and nothing changes. Now, within this dynamic too, we have some power dynamics. So the staff member is African American and the assistant director is white. The assistant director is younger and the staff member is, I believe, a senior citizen. So we've got these power dynamics that have probably some implicit bias built into them. There are probably blind spots, and there could be some real discomfort, especially around the experience of the person of color receiving criticism for not following certain like organizational processes. So these are all things that can really impact the experience that the person receiving criticism for not, following the responsibilities of their job can have. So what we talked about was, first of all, getting together, setting aside some time to have a conversation that's bold, that's going to address these issues, and that's going to allow for an opportunity for that staff member to express what they need to succeed in this role. And in order for that to happen, there needs to be a relationship, because this is going to be I guarantee you this conversation is going to be deep, it's going to be intense, and there's no knowing where it's going to go. It could go any direction, and that's scary. So a lot of times we just say, okay, let's just not have the conversation to avoid any risk for things getting uncomfortable and going in a direction that we weren't planning on. But there's a way to get through those conversations, and the way to get through them is trust and a strong relationship. And a strong relationship comes from having trust, right? And consistency in how we show up in our character, and the reliability of our support to the people that we work with and that we're with in our lives. So I have a feeling that this staff member feels like she can't trust the assistant director. Most of the communication that the staff member is getting is, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, right? And that messaging doesn't build a strong foundation of, hey, if I need your help as a subordinate, I can go to you for support. Because like all that I'm hearing come out of your mouth is, I suck, right? I'm not good enough, I'm bad at my job, right? My self-esteem is now low. My self-image of like how I perform in my role now doesn't match the expectations that I had when I first got this job. And I'm feeling like there's so much resistance that, damn, I might just start looking for a new place to work. And while I'm here, I'm not gonna make this easy for you. I'm gonna make it hard. I'm gonna show up late. I'm gonna, not complete those documents on time. I'm blah, blah, blah. It's gonna be dysfunctional and it's gonna escalate. So what I recommended was that assistant director address the issue, first of all, by being vulnerable and sharing her struggle, right? Because what's happening is everyone involved in this situation is carrying around more and more emotional pain. It's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for the supervisor who feels like they're being disrespected or not listened to, and it's not fun for the staff member who feels like they're being singled out and nitpicked, right? And as long as we just continue to not address that, it's gonna escalate and it's gonna stay uncomfortable. So let's first of all admit that, hey, this sucks for both of us, and no one wants to show up to work and have to deal with this. I'm struggling with that pain as an assistant director, and I know this is not fun for you either. And this is our opportunity to connect, to build some trust, to find out where we have shared values and a shared vision around the work that we're doing, and then to identify some shared intentions so that we're moving forward together as a team, even though we're totally different types of people.